Season 3 of A Nation United begins now. Let's get right into it. For those of you that follow me on Twitter, you may have seen that this is my second attempt in recording this episode, as near the end, the Xbox crashed on me, which is a spit in the face for sure, but could be a blessing because we were struggling. We were struggling heavily. I mean, Robin Lehner having an .888 save percentage through 15 to 20 games heavily. I mean, Olofsson and Linus Arneson both being in the -20s, struggling. Andre Burakovsky being terrible, struggling. So while it sucks that I'm having to re-record this because I'm a little bit low on time, I'm already tired as hell and frustrated. On the bright side, it could be a good thing for us here in the long run. But then again, we did lose our first game, our season opener, to the San Jose Sharks. For the record, as you can tell as I'm editing the lines, I still don't have the auto-rotate on. Why? Because I just don't feel like having it on. I don't. I feel like having control of when my goalie's playing when they don't. That's it. Simple as that. Simple as that. As it is, too, in the first attempt of this, we also dealt with a shitload of injuries, and I'm hoping to have a little bit better luck than that this time out. We'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. It really sucks I lost that first recording because it was going to be interesting. Potentially trading, talking about trading Robin Lehner and Andre Burakovsky and maybe other people. I was talking about that, and then the game crashed, so what can you do? But we're moving on. We're moving on. That's fine. That's fine. We have to move on. There's nothing we can do about it. So we're 6 games into the season, a 2-3-1 record. We let Högberg play quite a bit there. And we'll give the crease back to Robin Lehner until our next back-to-back. And that might be how it goes for a bit. Give each goalie some extended time as the starting goalie, and then we'll see what happens. Now, obviously, heading into this episode, there was a bit of, debate, controversy maybe even, about how the last episode went, how much we gave up to get Filip Forsberg. But like I mentioned in that episode, the only way we were getting a player of that caliber is if we gave up that much. And you can argue, maybe you shouldn't have given up Elias Anderson. You should have given up Robin Lehner. I don't disagree with that. The thing is, though, if we really want Elias Anderson back, we can get him. If Robin Lehner struggles, we could trade Robin Lehner. We might have to give up another pick or something. We could get Elias Anderson back in this series. I don't think that would be too big of an issue. But the reason for giving up Elias Anderson was to try and put this team into as good of a spot now to make the playoffs. That's the goal this year. I mean, looking at this team, I would say, at the very least, we should be a playoff team. I don't think there's any debate there about what we should be. We should be back in the playoffs. We made it in year 1 somehow. I'd like to think we could make it this year. Now, if we don't, then we really have to look at the core of our players. The spotlight right now is shining very brightly on someone like Andre Burakovsky, who hasn't been the player I was hoping he would be. And if he continues to struggle, maybe we'll look for an alternative. It wouldn't be, it wouldn't be somebody major. It might be someone like Carl Hagelin, who we could bring in. But I'd like to think that our team's going to gel. They're going to win games. And I won't have to worry about making any more changes because, my God, have we already made quite a few. Quite a few indeed. Now, I want to get to the end of November before taking a look at line combinations. That might be a bit too late. I might be forced to take a look at line combinations if we end up with an injury. But I want to wait. I want to give this team a little bit of time. And we actually do have quite a few back-to-backs this month. So maybe we'll take a look once we get to the Florida game. Maybe we'll take a look then. I mean, so far we're closing in on a 500 record. That shootout loss won't help. But hey, it's a pity point. So I'm alright with it. It is a pity point. Let's take a look here. 18 points on the year. Still very early on. 19 games into the season. But we'll be rolling with Högberg. Robin Lehner does have a .921 save percentage, which is nice. It was low there the first time we looked. Philip Forsberg, Nylanders, they're doing very well, which is good. The first time I simmed this, they were all minus players. William Nylander had like 1 goal and 19 assists, but he's getting some points on the board. He has jumped up to an 84 overall as well, so that top line is simming better this time out. Andre Burakovsky has 8 points, which isn't terrible. 5 points for Forsbacka Karlsson and 8 for Victor Arvidsson. Third line struggling a little bit. And you could argue for dropping Forsbacka Karlsson, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I do want to say too about the rosters and why I call him Forsbacka Karlsson, why his name isn't in there. My custom rosters I have been working on since the game launched. So that is why someone like Karlsson, who has since been added to the game by EA, and of course when EA adds somebody, their name fits, which is, you know, why you see someone like Pierre-Luc Letourneau-Leblond, PL3. Obviously, his name wouldn't fit if you create him, but if EA adds him, they can add those extra characters, because why the hell not? But, as Esa Lindell, you're finished, though. Damn it. Yep, he's finished. Oh, I thought we just had a great player fall straight into our laps. We didn't. You could say, oh, just claim him and then trade him, but people don't like when I pick Horde as it is, so let's not do that. I'm not too concerned. Wow, we beat Detroit 9-1. About Forsbacka Karlsson, like I said, I've been editing these rosters since the start. It wouldn't make any sense for me to download EA's most recent roster and then edit from there. I've made so many changes. I'm not saying, of course, that my roster's perfect or anything. Far from it. Quite a few debatable points about overalls and potentials. But with the amount of work I've put into it, it just doesn't make sense. So, someone like Thatcher Demko, who was added to the game by EA a while ago. I think Clayton Keller and Charlie McAvoy have been added since. I've created them on my own, of course, but, occasionally, you get the point. That's why I call him Forsbacka Karlsson. That's who it is. I can't fit the name in when I create him, but EA has added him since. That comes up quite a bit. So I figured I would talk about it again here. I'll still be asked about it consistently, but that's okay. What's not okay is Gabriel Carlsson going down to injury. It's okay from the standpoint of we haven't had to deal with too many injuries, so I'm not completely upset, and that will give us a chance to get Bernhard into the lineup. I'm intrigued to see what Ontario can do this season. Hoping for the best. I don't expect them to be able to replicate what they did last year, where they had just a dominant season. No other way to put it. It is a shame that they fell short in the playoffs. But I'm hoping for the best. Adam Werner, unfortunately, hasn't been able to replicate the success he had last year. Of course, he didn't play that many games last season, but hoping he can rebound a little bit now that he is the guy down in Ontario. Of course, the hope for them every year is just to make the playoffs, to get that little bit of extra experience. Karlsson is healthy, and whoever our starter's been on the main team will get moved out. So Bernhard, who did go up an overall point, will be taken out of the lineup for Karlsson. And then at the NHL level, we'll put Högberg in, since Robin Lehner has dropped 2 decisions in a row. I imagine Högberg won't do too much better. I was proven wrong there. A 6-2 win to start, which isn't bad. I still hope to be able to sim to the Anaheim game with him between the pipes. We will see if that is the case. We shall see. Boy, don't I wish the game didn't crash. Despite the fact that we are having much more success with this sim, holy shit am I tired. Holy shit am I tired. And it's so unfulfilling, too, to have the game just crash on you out of nowhere. NHL rarely crashes on me. The only game I've had crashing issues with lately is Mafia 3. I'm finally playing through that. Fun game. I love the Mafia series. Mafia 2 might be one of my favorite games of all time. I loved it on the 360. It was just one of those things where it's like, oh, hey, this game, I actually got it from a GameStop. Went there with a couple of friends, and it's like, oh, hey, this game's cheap. I have no idea what it's about, aside from the title. And it turned out to be one of my favorite games. It's an amazing game. Mafia 3 is pretty good as well. I mean, you know, it'll always be kind of compared with GTA. I do find the story in Mafia like 2 and 3 a bit better. I think the hand-to-hand combat in the gunplay is a hell of a lot better than GTA. But that's not to say I don't like GTA. I mean, I love GTA. But I don't know. That comparison's always made. But yeah, that's the only game I've had crashing issues with lately. But I guess I can add NHL to that list now. At least it crashed during a franchise mode video and not during Ultimate Team. If it crashed during a HUT game, I would probably lose my mind. I wouldn't be too happy. But let's see here. Tobias Lindberg goes down to injury, so we need to look at calling somebody up. It won't be Lucas Wallmark. It'll probably be Johan Sundstrom, who is 26. He's going to cap out at an 81 overall. Yeah, I think yeah, fuck it. I'm going to call him up because we need to stay as competitive as possible. It is going to be a big loss for Ontario, but we need to get a strong player into the lineup, and Johan Sundstrom is just that. He is listed as a center still, not a right wing, but he'll be in on the fourth line. And actually, since he is a center, we'll make him the center on that line. And then the AHL, I can't remember who we're going to get into the lineup here. Is it going to be Postler, Soderlund? Postler, Holmstrom, Soderlund. Holmstrom's 22, medium bottom 6. Soderlund is 20. So, or I could put in Postler just because he's the best option. You know what, I'm going to put in Postler just because he is the best player available. And we want to keep that team somewhat competitive, considering we just took away one of the top 2 players from that team. And unfortunately, Sundstrom is going to be on the NHL roster for quite a while here. That was a pretty long injury suffered by Lindberg, about a month. He will be gone for, we have lost 3 straight games, and that's not a very good sign, is it? We are making really good progress. I mean, we've been lucky on the injury front, knock on wood. We've been lucky for the most part. I feel like the sim's going by pretty damn quick, and we're going to hit the All-Star break, no problem here. We're right there in playoff contention. We're 1 point back. I mean, Calgary is running away with the division, but it is a close race for everybody else. Robin Leonard has a .923 save percentage. Hogberg not doing too bad either. He has 19 games. Leonard has 24. So we are running them as a tandem. Let's see here. Top line. Good numbers for Philip Forsberg. Good numbers for William Nylander. Better numbers for Alex Nylander. All right, the top line's doing well. Second line, that's not bad from Burakovsky. A little bit disappointing from Carlson. Not bad from Arvidsson. Kempe at 13 points. You know what? Let's bump Eriksson Ek up to the top line, and we'll have that be the third line. And then the fourth line, Sundstrom hasn't done anything yet, but that's all right. That is all right. Defensively, things are looking good. Victor Hedman continues to be a beast. Olofsson and Bankston's doing well as well. All right, plus minuses aren't too bad. Things are looking okay. I am shocked. And you know what? If it means I'm that much more tired, if it means my dog has to wait an extra 20 minutes before I take her for a walk and then come home and just collapse and fall asleep, then so be it. So be it. Let's, oh boy. Let's get through this, shall we? Let's get through this. Things are looking alright, though. Things are looking alright. Ontario's still struggling a little bit. We get the pity point from the Colorado game. 3-0 shutout win against the Anaheim Ducks and a 5-2 win against the New York Rangers. And just like that, we are in a playoff spot. 47 points. Things are looking good, but the Canucks have 3 games at hand. The Canucks have 3 games in hand. That could be problematic for us. 100%. Hogberg, 3 shutouts, a .925 save percentage. So you could still argue that trading Robin Leonard would be the way to go. You could absolutely argue that the best decision would be to trade him and just run with Hogberg. And we could bring back Anderson from Minnesota. and be good to go, which honestly might be the plan. I mean, yeah, I don't honestly know who else we would trade Robin Lehner for if we were to move him. Granted, we did recoup picks. I mean, we could potentially, I don't know if we want to go after someone like a Raquel. I mean, I don't even know if we could, so don't jump on that. I don't know if we could afford him. But with the first round picks that we were able to recoup, combined, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the best decision would probably, be to get Anderson back. But if we wanted to make a strong playoff push, all I'm saying is that there are options. There are options. So Toby Lindbergh is back. Let's send down Sundstrom again. Hopefully he doesn't get claimed. He did not. Good. He's a good AHLer for us. He's a good guy to have on this team at the moment. Let's get Lindbergh back in the lineup. I think I need to switch out the goaltending as well. I can't honestly remember. Jens Luke is up to an 80 overall. Not bad. As is Jonathan Dahlin. So both of those guys could be on the NHL roster as soon as next season, which would be nice. Andreas Johnson, I'm starting to get concerned about. He might be in Sundstrom territory where he just isn't going to turn in to what we were hoping that he would be, which is unfortunate. Liljegren's already up to an 83 and a depth defenseman. So there was talk about potentially playing him on the NHL roster. I think we're still in a good spot. He's top pairing on the AHL team and still making some good progression. So we're in a good spot as a franchise. It's just make the playoffs. It's all we have to do. Just make the damn playoffs. And that lost to San Jose in 2 consecutive losses. No, it's not quite going to help that cause. But again, we're still in a decent spot. 3 points out of a playoff spot here as we approach the All-Star break, which will be our stopping point for this episode. Then we'll take a look at the team. We'll take a look at our assets in terms of draft picks and decide what we want to do if we need to make any moves, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If we do decide to make some moves, I'll probably sim a little bit further into the, into February before actually making moves rather than kicking off next episode with trades. I don't know. It'll be a wait and see kind of deal. But as we end this episode, at least the sim portion, 25-23-3, the Ontario Reign 19-7-2, or 17-2, not 19-7-2. I wish they were 19-7-2. Right now we are 3 points back of the San Jose Sharks through 51 games this season. Philip Forsberg leads the team. Of course, we'll take a look at the stats a bit more in depth in a moment. The Sharks do have a game at hand on us, so, oh man, Vancouver has 3 on us, so we're not as close to a playoff spot as I would hope. We need to start picking up a few more wins here or there. But as we get a look at the team, 43 points in 51 games for Philip Forsberg, good season for Hedman. Alex Nylander, William Nylander, both doing pretty damn well. So I'd say that top line is delivering. Lucas Bengtsson having a good year. Burakovsky, 32 points for a second-line forward. He's living up to my expectations of him, as is Victor Arvidsson. They're both doing okay. I think Eriksson Ek is the guy for them, too, on that second line. We do have him as a power forward. We could change him to a playmaker or a two-way, for that matter. So I don't know, the top 9, or not the top 9, but the top 6 at least, looking all right. Forsbacher Karlsson, 19 points. Melker Karlsson, 17, and 16 for Kempe. That's still not bad for the players that have been on the third line for the majority of the season. I feel like we're doing okay. It's just a matter of stringing some wins together. Defensively, it's still looking good. The only minus player is Bengtsson, but he has 33 points this season. And the goaltending, it's been a near split 29 games for Robin Lehner with a .922 save percentage. 25 games for Högberg with a .922 save percentage. So you could argue that trading Robin Lehner is the way to go. You could argue for that. And we'd probably look to maybe reacquire Linus Ullmark as our backup because Adam Werner doesn't seem to be ready. So I'd say that's the big question, is do we want to look at trading Robin Lehner as you get a look at the leading point getters in the NHL. Rookie skating as well, the call to race right now. It is Dylan Strome, considered a rookie here in year 3. He is having a pretty strong season. But overall, Linus Soderstrom could actually be an option as a backup as well. But Hogenberg could potentially be the guy. I don't know if we'd have to go out and get someone like Soderstrom or Sandstrom, who is normally a Philadelphia prospect. I'm not sure where he is in this sim. But let's take a look. Let's take a look at our draft pick situation and what we could potentially do. Wow, the Bruins are struggling. We could do some damage. We could do some damage if we wanted to. We could trade Robin Lehner and get Lias Andersson back. And then from there, we could go after another heavy hitter. We could do it. Somebody like a Zibanejad. Somebody like a Rickard Rakell. We could make that work. We could make that work with those picks. Let me go take a look at the standings again to see if the Bruins are towards the bottom. But that's my question for you guys. Let me know down in the comments below. Do we hold on to Robin Lehner, or is now the time to trade him? Do we go out and reacquire Lias Andersson? And then with those draft picks, do we go out and get another heavy hitter for this team? The top 6 for us is doing fairly well, but, you know, say potentially dropping Alex Nylander down to the 3rd line, even? I mean, dropping him down to the 3rd line wouldn't be terrible. He's still listed as a depth player. We have options. The Bruins right now are dead last in the NHL. They are dead last. So right now, I mean, hell, we could even hold on to the pick, and then we'd have potentially a top 5 pick, top 3, maybe even the 1st overall pick. We have a ton of options, which is why I'm stopping here, because I want to hear from you guys. What do you think we should do moving forward? We're in playoff contention. Asset-wise, we're in a great spot and could do damage, not only reacquiring a top-notch prospect, but doing some big-time damage and acquiring another very high-end player for this team. It's happened a bit more quickly than I expected, but we are in a very, very good spot. And again, Alex Nylander's really good on the top line, but he is a depth forward. It wouldn't hurt to, you know, maybe... well, actually, here, Eriksson Ek is... I mean, Eriksson Ek could play on the 2nd line. If we were to acquire, say, Rickard Rakell, right? Or Zibanejad. Say we acquire Mika Zibanejad, right? And he's the center between Forsberg and William Nylander. Alex Nylander could be dropped down to the 2nd line. He could be dropped down to the 3rd line to play with Kempe and Karlsson. And we could trade Melker Karlsson just to open up space. There's so many options. There are so many options for what we could do. So with that said, we're going to end this episode here. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about what we should do with this team. I look forward to your feedback. I look forward to the next episode. It should be a good one. And, of course, despite having to restart this episode because of the game crashing, speaking of which, I'm going to hit save file right now because I'm a bit nervous. I'm happy with the way this episode has gone. And like I said, I'm looking forward to the next one. I hope you guys are as well. If you are, of course, make sure to give this video a like to help support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series and others. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode of A Nation United.